Okay, Mrs. Ismatul, we can start the guest lecture now. All of speaker have ready.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Prasenna, for the time and opportunity. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good morning, everybody. Now, Honorable guest speaker and all participants, welcome to today's educational webinar between Universitas PGRI Semarang and Don Mariono Marcos Memorial State University, GMMMSU, Philippines. It is truly an honor to have all of you here, coming together to foster academic collaboration and strengthen our partnership in education. We believe that through this knowledge sharing session, we can gain valuable insight and enrich our perspective and innovative learning method. Well, before we begin, let us express our gratitude to Almighty for giving us an opportunity to gather here today in good health and high spirit. We will start our moment for praying according to our legend and habitual everyone. Pray, let's begin. Bismillah. Amen. Now, without furthermore, let's officially begin our program for our agenda today. Firstly, national anthem. To pay to our respective countries, let us listen to Indonesian national anthem and the continue Philippine national anthem. Everybody can respect both national anthem very well. Is it already? Pasena, is it already? Philippines national anthem already?
We couldn't hear the sound.
Yes, we cannot listen very well the sound of Philippine national anthem.
Please don't forget to check the sound. Yes, now okay.
Okay, very good. Okay, thank you. The next agenda, welcoming speeches. From representation from UKRIS, welcoming to Dr. Mega Novita. Time for you.
All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished speakers, respected guests, and dear participants. It's a great honor for me, on behalf of the International Office of Universitas PGRI Semarang, UKRIS, to warmly welcome you all to this guest lecture, part of our webinar series 1, in collaboration with Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University, DMMMSU, Philippines. First and foremost, I'd like to express my sincere gratitude to our esteemed speakers. They are Ibu Ratna Wahyu Pusari, SPD MPD from UKRIS Indonesia, and Dr. Estela Sayap Yap from DIMSU Philippines. Thank you for sharing your expertise and knowledge with us today. We are truly honored to have you as a part of this academic exchange. I would also like to extend my appreciation to Ibu Ismatul Hasanah SPD MPD, our moderator for today's session, and to everyone who has worked tirelessly behind the scene to make this event possible, especially Bapak Prasena and the team from DIMSU Philippines. This case lecture is to our strong commitment to fostering international collaboration, knowledge exchange, and academic excellence. By bringing together experts and educators from different countries, Indonesia and Philippines, we not only enhance our understanding of key educational topics but also strengthen the bonds of friendship and cooperation between institutions. To all participants, I encourage you to take full advantage of this opportunity, engage, ask questions, and immerse yourself in today's insightful discussions. Your active participation will make this session even more meaningful. Okay? Welcome to this guest lecture. May this event be inspiring, insightful, and impactful for all of us. Thank you. I wish you a productive and enriching session.
Thank you, Miss Mega Novita, for motivation speak. The second for M the MMSU, Dr. Gerald Secules. The time for you, Mr. Gerald Secules.
Hello, Mrs. Matul. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So, salamat pagi. Magandang umaga. Good morning to everyone joining us today. So, on behalf of our President, Dr. Jaime Aymanuel Jr., and our Director for International Affairs, we have Dr. Jesus Rafael Biharata. It's my distinct honor to warmly welcome you all to this exciting collaboration between Universitas PRI Semarang of Greece and Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University, Adingsu. This partnership exemplifies the spirit of international cooperation, fostering academic growth and innovation beyond borders. Today, we are privileged to have esteemed speakers who bring with them a wealth of knowledge and experience. Of course, we have Dr. Ratnawai Posari from Greece and our very own Dr. Stella Ekayabyab from DIMSU, who will share insights that not only broaden our understanding but also inspire future endeavors in education, research, and development. This event serves as a testament to our shared commitment to providing quality education and to nurturing global partnerships that empower both our faculty and students to thrive in interconnected world. Let us all actively engage in this webinar, listen to the valuable insights of our speakers, and participate in meaningful discussions. Together, we continue to pave the way for innovation and academic excellence. Once again, welcome and thank you for being part of this special event. Let us all look forward to an enriching and productive session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gerald Secules. Okay, now everybody please open your camera. We can take a photo together and take a picture. Mr. Prasena, can you help us?
Of course,
Everybody,
ma'am.
please open your camera.
Okay, all of participants, please open your camera. I'll start
Everybody, please
from
open your
uh,
camera,
I'll
please.
start from first slide. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then
Second screen.
second screen. Okay, and then
Second
the third
screen.
third screen. Okay, from fourth screen, all of participant close their camera,
Oh, fourth screen. Everybody, please open camera. Will you?
and then okay
The next
last
screen.
screen. And then the last screen. Okay, Miss Isma, all of
Okay,
them
thank
have.
you, Pak Prasena. Thank you, Miss Mega Novita and Mr. Gerald for a speech presentation, representative speech for university. Thank you very much. The next series, lecture series. Now we move On the core of the day, for the first presentation will develop from esteems by the MMMSU presentation, both a 20 minutes, it delivered by Dr. Estela Ayapiap. The time for you and the continue from Indonesia, from Ukris, Mrs. Ratna Wahyu Pusari, a 20 minutes. The time for both of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Am I heard well?
Very well.
Very well. So good morning, everyone from
Good
Good morning, ma'am. From the Don Mariano Marcos Memorial State University, we would like to thank everyone who had this work possible, this online seminar possible. And of course, I would like to thank the UPRIS, the administration, also with the Don Mariano administration, internationalization, Sir Gerald, Sir Jesus, Sir Kitoy, and the rest of the IZN team. And I'd like also to commend all those who are having the online this time. May I know from the group, kindly type 1 if you are a teacher or a faculty member or an administrator, and type 2 on our chat box if we are students or if you are a student. May I see from the chat group? Okay, so from our chat group, it says there that there are teachers and there are students. So thank you so much for your participation. Now this time, may I know from your group, from the group, or from this group, who are happy? So type 1 and type 2 who are sad. Who are happy? Type 1 and type 2 who are sad. Okay, so I've learned that everybody is happy. Are you all happy? May I know from the faculty if you're happy? Kindly open your microphone and say hooray. Okay.
Hooray.
Happy.
Okay. Can you see my slide? Can you see my slide? Yes?
Not yet.
Not
It
yet.
cannot be seen.
Not yet, ma'am.
Okay. So I'll redirect. Okay, what about this one? Can you see now?
No, not yet.
Still.
Already. Yes, already.
Okay, so let's start. Now for this morning session, we'll be speaking about building foundations for future, exploring the power of early childhood education. Now, for this one, I knew that most of us here are educators, especially this from UPGRIS, and also with my students. We have a lot of students from the Team SU right now. And I'm Stella Ikayabyab, your speaker today. Psalm 127, it says, verse 3, children are a heritage from the Lord, offspring of a reward from him. So many people today consider children a distraction from more important work. But children are not a distraction from more important work. They are the most important work. May I hear from you? Any comment? May I hear from my students? What can you understand about this? One, the student, and may I also hear one from the teacher. Any volunteer? Can we ask for a volunteer? Okay. Kindly open your microphone and answer.
Ma'am Meris.
Okay. What did you understand about this?
The verse from the Psalm 127 verse 3 emphasizes that children are a gift from God. In today's society, some people view children as an other pursuits. However, the truth is that raising and nurturing children is one of the most significant and important responsibilities we can have. It is not a distraction from the other work, but rather a vital part of our lives that brings great value and fulfillment.
Okay, thank you so much. So it's really a big learning for us that children are not distraction, but they are our most important work. So I hope you understand. We all understand this quotation. And this time, I just want to share something from this another slide from this, and I want you to listen. And this time, I want this teachers from UPBRIST to participate in this part. I'll be reading to you. Um, I'll be reading something, and then please analyze and understand and be able to contribute insight later on. Never, never, never cut a child's waist. My hands are small, and that is why I spill the milk when I don't want to. My legs are short. Please wait for me and walk slower so I can keep up with you. Don't hit my hand when I touch something colorful. I just want to learn. Please look at me when I am talking to you so I know you're listening. My feelings are still tender. Please don't scold me all day. Let me make mistakes without making me feel stupid. Don't expect the bed I make or a drawing I paint to be perfect. Love me for trying my best. Remember, I am a child, not a small adult. Sometimes I don't understand what you're saying. I love you so much. Please love me for who I am, not just for what I do. Don't reject me when you are upset with me. If I come to give you a kiss, it's because I feel alone, abandoned, and afraid. When you tell me I get scared, please explain what I've done wrong. Don't be angry when when the night falls and the dark feels scary. When I wake up and call you, your hug is only one thing that gives me peace. When we go to the store, don't let me go of my hand. I like to feel I'll get lost and you'll never find me. I feel really sad when you argue. Sometimes I think it's my fault and my stomach tightens because I don't know what to do. I often see you hugging and caressing my brother. Do you love him more than me? Maybe because he's cuter and smart. But what about me? Am I not your child too? You scolded me harshly when I broke my favorite toy, and even more than I cried about it. I was so reticent, and I didn't do it on a purpose. I've lost it forever. If you go upset, if you go upset because I got dirty while playing, but the feeling of mud of my feet was so wonderful. And that afternoon was so lovely. I wish I knew how to wash my clothes by myself. Today, you weren't feeling well, and I got really worried. I tried to cheer you up and my games in the stories. And what would I lose? Something happened to me. I'm scared of hell, and I don't even know what is it. But I think it must be as terrible as being without you. Even though I had fun staying with my uncles, I miss you so much the whole week. I wish my parents never had vacation away from their children. I'm so lucky. Out of all children in the world, you chose me. As adults, we often forget what it takes to be a child, what it hurt us, what scared us, and what made us feel loved. And sometimes children say these things out loud. Other times, they only think them silent. Okay, so may I ask from the group, anyone from all those sharing I did? I just want one insight from the faculty and one insight from the student. Thank you. Anyone from the group? Okay, may I ask from Upgris, anyone? Any sharing from the group? Or from the students, if not from the faculty members?
Can you repeat your
Just one thing that you have learned from all those citation I've mentioned.
don't think prioritize your
Yes. Please continue. I cannot hear well. Please continue. Okay, other one from the group? Please volunteer. Thank you so much. This is a collaboration activity, and this discussion should be interactive. Uh, what about others from the group? Can you give input from the UPGRIS? May we also ask answers from the UPGRIS?
prioritize.
Okay.
May I?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Estela. It's I hear little and I hope it's right or something that you say before, like children should not be forced, isn't it? Like to follow our desire or expectation as each because child grow uniquely depending on the simulation and environment provided by parents and teacher around them, because every child has their own pace, interest, and like natural abilities which develop based on how they are nurtured and guided. When children are pressured to conform to a rigid standard or fulfill the dreams of adult, they may feel like a overwhelming, like a anxious, or even like a discouraged from learning instead of enforcing like a one size fits all approach. So it's like a parents and educators should focus on creating a sporting, like simulating and encouraging environment where children feel uh, safe to explore. It's like this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. May I commend everyone who had participated in this activity. So let's continue. May I just know from the group is if the slide is still seen? Can you see the slides still?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thanks so much. Okay, for understanding early childhood education essentials, early childhood education focuses on holistic development of fostering love for learning. If I say holistic, we talk about the cognitive, psychomotor, emotional aspects, the spiritual aspects, and the physical aspects of development. Now, in early childhood education, this emphasizes the word play-based learning. This is socio-emotional growth and importance of inclusive practices in nurturing young minds. Now, for play-based education, it does not only develop a sense of purpose on the sense of in the sense of students feeling, also with that of social. And as I as I always mention my students that play is a lifeblood of all children. If we remove play from their bodies, meaning we remove their lives, we remove the lives of our students, or we remove the lives of the kids, since play is the lifeblood of all children. Okay, now there are pillars of development. Number one is the cognitive development, physical development, and social-emotional development. For cognitive development, it is so important for us faculty members and also future faculty members, like the Bachelor of Elementary Education, and also with the Bachelor of Early Childhood Education, who are here today with us, joining us in this session. So we need to understand that students or kids are not miniature adults, meaning we don't expect them to respond, to think, and perform the way adults perform. So also with the physical and social emotional development, these kids are kids. So with this different development, it is expected that everybody in this group learn or understand that kids are kids. So we should not be hurrying their development, because all kids or all children have their own phases, of development, and we should always be kind or patient in nurturing one's development. And the aim of early childhood education is not merely limited to preparation of academic training. As I mentioned, this is to train our students to be socially, emotionally, cognitively, and physically developed. Because these things are the solid foundation for lifelong learning and well-being. So if we say lifelong learning, these are the things that they should learn daily in their lives. They should be independent in doing things, and while they are learning about independence, they also have this what we call a sense of responsibility in things that they are doing. So with effective early child education, societies can nurture generation of compassionate and responsible children. It's our role to nurture our little kids. So before we nurture these little kids, we need to learn more about their psychology. We need to learn more about their needs, differences, unique interests, also where the different characteristics they have, so that we would give more input as uh, faculty members, as instructors, as teachers of these little kids. And the most significant aspect of early childhood education is the development of positive relationship between child and parent. So remember, parents are the child's first teacher, therefore remain integral part of the learning process. So what is then our role as educators? Our role as educator is to encourage parents and to train also parents during card day, during conference. Let's educate parents that they need to treat their children the best that they could and to have a positive relationship on them. With a steady relationship and proper guidance, children become more comfortable with the learning environment. In other words, passive upbringing can influence child's brain development and future education. So a kid who felt love at home, especially not only at home, even in the school, would perform better than those who are not. So always remember that it's very important to love our kids. For us, educators, we serve as second parents of these students, and it's therefore our responsibility to love them, to lengthen our patience, to be compassionate. And of course, if we love our work, we definitely love these children too. According to education science, years in the most critical period of development of child's cognitive abilities. So this is from 0 to 7 years old. So this is the most critical period of development of child's cognitive abilities. Children are born geniuses and possess extraordinary mental capabilities. More information you provide, the more knowledge they will absorb and acquire. However, this phase of rapid learning diminishes a child's grows older. So what is the bottom line, or how can we better understand this statement? So we teachers and also the future educators like the BSED second year A and B who are with us here. So always think of this research out wherein they've learned that from 0 to 7 years, we need to give the best learning opportunity for our students because in these years, they are students are or children are like sponges wherein everything is absorbed. That is why we should be take careful or shall be careful of what we teach to our children. It should always be the right thing to teach. Also well the values that we inculcate our students, especially we serve as models. Teachers, we serve as models. What they can see to us are the things that they also can do, that they do. Also, in reality, um, teachers serve the number one in the lives of our children. So please be a role model. Now, to continue, leave their minds untaught and untrained, some of their remarkable skills likely to become dormant and eventually fade with time. This is precisely where the importance of effective early childhood education lies. So in this first statement, if minds are not are untaught and untrained, so they become the skills or their brain should become dormant and eventually fade with time. So this learning will fail, and this will be dormant if in 0 to 7 years old years are not pampered with different activities that these students really need into. Now let's learn about the basics of our brain. So we have the left brain and the right brain. So left brain and right brain. So let's see the difference. May I know from the group, are you still here with me? May I know from the group, what are the different activities or what are the different things learned in our right brain? Okay, so please cooperate, please recite so we can finish fast. What can you see on the side of the right brain? Okay. Can you see? Can you see the presentation?
Art, music, colors.
So we have here the different emotions, intuitions, creativity, colors, so arts, music, and from what about the left brain? What are these activities or what are these things learned from the left brain?
Reason, logic, mind, math, language, sense of time.
Okay, so let's learn about this. What is this all about? Why brain and left brain are included in the discussion? Okay, so what is the difference between brains, the left brain and the right brain? To help your child learn effectively, you must first understand how the brain works. So our brain is the most complex organ in our body and this has two hemispheres, the left brain and the right brain, and both have their distinctive characteristics and traits. So let's learn further. Meaning, when we uh, that even though the brain functions as a whole, each side learns differently. The left brain is all about the verbal, the rational learning, and works on logical reasoning. While on the other hand, the right brain is on creative, emotional, and learns through intuitive absorption. So, therefore, during this early child education years, the brain develops from where? From, what's the
Right to
answer?
left.
So from right to left. To this reason, the right brain is dominant between ages 0 to 3. So what ages? That
0 to 3.
0 to
the
3.
right brain is dominant 0 to 3. So it is essential to make use of this time to encourage abstract thinking of our child. So most education systems today are left brain focused and measure success based on competency. So what is then the problem? What is then the problem? Any analysis on this slide? Anyone from the UPGRIST? So if 0 on ages 0 to 3, the dominant is the right brain, what is therefore our role as teachers then, and parents as well?
Encourage abstract thinking in our child.
Okay, thank you so much. Anyone? Thank you. Anyone who would like to talk to or answer? Okay. Uh, from the students? So if the right brain, it says here during the early childhood education years, brain develops from right to left. Therefore, right brain should be managed well. So let's give developmentally appropriate practices, activities to suit the development of our children. So therefore, it's our advantage as educators that we should be thinking developmentally appropriate activities for our children to learn more. It's because we need the students needs really activities that would enhance more the right brain, because as we mentioned a while back, research shows that brain is started to is the right brain starts to develop before the left brain. Okay, but when the right brain associates with kids learning, it establishes a new brain synergy. The best-selling book, Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain, affirms this concept, and it suggests that right brain development helps you see things differently, regardless of how your brain has been wired. So this nowadays, teachers focus, even in the preschool or early childhood education, teachers focus more on the left brain. They forget that it should always be the left brain first. Right brain education is an accelerated developmental program designed for children in age 0 to 7. During this phase, the right brain functions at a higher velocity compared to left brain. Therefore, you input a lot of information to the brain at a faster rate, stimulate the right brain. Okay, we need to stimulate the right brain. This approach, also implemented correctly, it improves memory and concentration, grasp power, analytical skill, creativity, imagination, and emotional intelligence. So, what is there for the different practices we need to inculcate? So first, always the child as the center of learning. So we need to learn about the different uniqueness of the child, interests, developmental levels. And of course, as we mentioned, one of the developmentally appropriate practice is the word play. And play is the highest form of research. Why? Because if the child plays, all his senses are working. So play is essential for children's cognitive development and social skills. So through play, it fosters creativity, problem-solving abilities, emotional resilience. So as a teacher, our input is to make the environment safe for them to play. And there's environment in the sense that it's not only physical environment, also with the emotional or the emotional aspect of the environment, wherein everybody should feel belong. Everybody, all students or kids should feel loved and belong in the group. Okay, since play is a critical part of this critical skill through play, so we need a nurturing environment, as mentioned a while back. And of course, with this play, we learn life skills. Life skills like pretend play, you're washing dishes, life skills like tying your shoelace, buttoning your shirts. What else? Pretend play that you pretend that you are a teacher, you're a mom, you're a dad. So in this early development, it's not only social aspect of development, also with the behavior development and the well-being as well. Okay, so then we need to do foundational skills. Foundational skills regarding on the cognitive, emotional, and social development. Okay, so programs that would improve their creativity, improve knowledge skills, positive relationship. Okay, so we also recommend Montessori approach for this. Although, of course, we still do traditional this time, but as preschool teachers and educators, we always emphasize the value of Montessori approach. And this emphasizes child-led learning, encouraging independence and critical thinking through hands-on activities and exploration tailored to individual differences. Now, Montessori is Maria Montessori is one of the pioneer who created or she established the kindergarten. Okay, so the Montessori approach is more on the hands-on activities that develops more critical thinking skills. So in Montessori approach, you cannot go to the next step or next work, next job unless you finish the first one. Okay, so we also need to consider structured learning environment. But if we have early childhood education as our focus, non-structured learning environment is preferred than structured learning environment, because unstructured learning environment is promoting creativity, flexibility, and develops problem solving skills. Okay, now may I ask one faculty from the UGRIS to read this one? Uh, may I ask one faculty member from the UGRIS to read this last slide? Hello? Am I still heard? Okay. Okay. You shouldn't matter how slowly a child
Matter
learns.
how slowly a child learns as long as we are encouraging them not to stop.
Okay. This is the heart of my speak today, my lecture today, that it shouldn't matter how slowly a child learns, as long as we are encouraging them not to stop. I hope this lecture encourages everyone to strive more, to teach our little kids, and not to train them as miniature adults. We need to lengthen our patience. We need to love them. We need to uh, we need to make appropriate developmentally appropriate practices so that they could improve more in their learning. And with that, thank you very much for your participation, dear UPRIS administration and administrators and faculty members, as well as the DIMSU students, especially on Bachelor of Early Childhood Education. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mrs. Kayap Yap. The next speaker, Mrs. Ratnawayu Pusari.
Halo,
Time is
selamat
available.
pagi. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear my voice?
Too small, too small,
Too small?
too small.
I don't know what happened with my headset, but I have raised my volume. So what happened?
It can be listened well. Too small. It's okay.
Okay, I think it is enough for the volume of my voice because I add it. Uh, okay, let me share my presentation for today. Have you seen my slide?
Yes,
Yes,
already.
ma'am. Okay.
Already.
Okay, thank you. Okay, uh, before before I start my present today, I will say hello for the people in all of the Zoom. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dear Miss Ibu Mega Novita, and then dear Ibu Anita, and all of the study program members in early childhood education UGRIS, and then dear Dr. Estella Chai Chayap Yap as one of the speaker today, and also Mr. Gerald and all the people in the MMSU. And then Bu Isma as the moderator for the session, and all of the lecturer and the students from UPGRIS and also the MMSU in this Zoom. Let me introduce myself. My name is Ratna Wahyu Busari. You can call me Sari. Okay. Today I will talk about local culture and English for young learners. I think because I am a teacher of English, so I will discuss or I will talk about English for young learners in by integrating local culture. I think local culture is interesting topic to discuss since in every country uh, has their own culture. For example, in Indonesia and Philippines also has their own culture. What is local culture? Local culture is it is a cultural heritage of a specific community. It has special characteristic, I think, because culture has different background. For example, the people, the language, the habits, beliefs, and also geographical location. Local culture is naturally formed. Whether we realize or not, culture is formed. So I think local culture is good resource for students, especially for young learners, to learn English. Wait. Sorry. So, uh, now English is very common in our life because we know that some instruction in our gadget or maybe in a signs in the road or in transportation area, we can see that there's not only English but also our first language at that place. Old and young people, even early years, are familiar with English. Therefore, English is an international language. However, in Indonesia, English is considered as foreign language. So there are many people who don't understand English well. But some other people who well educated can learn English since they are children. Maybe their family also speak English at home or the children school at bilingual language school. Culture in Indonesia is used to implement values, norms, the uniqueness of local culture or local wisdom. So culture has a good impact also in learning. For example, understand social, moral, and cultural values. And then culture also can develop students' characteristic. And then culture also building relationship between children and their environment. And then the culture also cultural students can do preservation and strengthen their culture identity. And then culture also has a good impact on develop creative, confident, and empowered individual. If we integrated English in local culture, it helps students understand what is the different culture between one and another places. Children also can elaborate their experience or personal experience and a new knowledge. For example, like this, when I was a child, my teacher told me about Candi Borobudur or Borobudur Temple. At that time, I cannot imagine the building of Borobudur Temple. And then when I was in high school, I came to Magelang, the place where Candi Borobudur is, and then saw the temple, and then I can elaborate the story of my teacher at that time and the uh, new knowledge when I came to Magelang. So integrated English into local culture, I think is good. And then integrated English in local culture also can develop students' intercultural communication skill. Of course, it improve language skills if they learn English well. So here there are some pictures as the example if the local culture based English for learning activities. For example, singing and then playing traditional playing activity, and maybe reading a book. We can use many kind of books which can stimulate English for children with uh, the story based on the local story. And also, students can also play traditional music instrument. In here, we use angklung, yeah, angklung to learn English. In integrating English to local culture, sometimes we face some challenges. The challenge is from the human resource. I mean, here is the teacher. The teacher is the key point to introduce English to their students. And also, teacher can develop learning activities. So if they uh, master how to uh, teach well, I think the students also can use English well. Teacher also have to make a good lesson plan. Therefore, the culture can be accepted in the learning process or learning curriculum. So, to solve the problems about the human resource, I mean the teacher can use local wisdom as the learning resources. You can adapt uh, according to your learning environment. And then improving teacher competency, the teacher can learn from anyone. I think our gadgets have so many resources to help the teacher or students to learn English. So there are many applications which good to help someone to learn English very well. And then maybe you can use YouTube as a learning resource also. And also the teacher can join a workshop to improve English communication. Uh, sorry. And then networking. Networking also help to improve teacher communication skill, especially not only in teaching, but also in developing a relationship with other people. If the networking is used to develop English competency, I think networking is a good way uh, to facilitate the teacher to learn English. And then support facilities and infrastructures can these facilities it can support learning process. And the last one is implementation curriculum based local wisdom. So I think curriculum also can be applied with the by adapting local wisdom based on your geographical location. Because, for example, in Indonesia, mm, there are many different geographical location. So the potential resource also different. You can uh, use the potential of the geographical location to make a good lesson plan, to make a good activity for the children to learn English very well. I think my conclusion is English for young learners is fun, so it can be learned and integrated to curriculum-based local wisdom. So local wisdom is apa, the easiest way to learn English for the children. I think my presentation is enough. Uh, there are only small, yeah, to talk about. Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention. Selamat pagi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mrs. Ratnawahyu Pusari for uh, inspiring presentation about English children. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now discussion season. To deepen our understanding and encourage interactive learning, now we open discussion season. Everybody can raise hand and say and give a question for the two speaker, Mrs. Kayapyap and to Mrs. Ratnawahyu Pusari. Let's anyone to us to both presentation today? Anybody? Or maybe you can write on the text box about the question. In the text box, I can see in the text box I can see Miss Mrs. Husna is there here? Maybe any question can ask exactly to the presenter today, please. Oh, there is no question. Are you sure there is no discussion here? Well, uh, remarkable presenter, Mrs. Kayap Yap and Mrs. Ratnawahyu Pusari, maybe all participant and honorable judge here already understanding well about the topic. That's very amazing and inspiring a topic that Mr. Kayap Yap, Mrs. Kayap Yap and Mrs. Ratnawahyu Pusari presentation today. Well, thank you for all participants for your enthusiasm and curiosity, your insight, inspiring and participation today very, very meaningful. And the last closing statement. As we come to the end today's webinar, we would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to all the speaker and organizer and all participants who have made the event success. And please don't leave this meeting and the text box there is a a Google Docs form for the presentation attendance link. Please, everybody can fill the attendance link right now. Before the closing, our agenda today, this is this event can We set up because the collaboration between UPCRIS and GMMMSU marked another step in our academic partnership, and we look forward to more opportunities for cooperation in the future to enriching our collaboration in building the education. Once again, thank you for time and participation. We hope you found this webinar enriching and beneficial. Thank you. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Salam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Bu Isma. Thank you,
Thank you, everybody.
Chayap, Estela
Everybody.
Thank you, Dr. Estela.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Dimsu.